Cupcakes. You are joining us here back again in the Bakeaholics HQ. So today we've got a little bit of a different video. This is the part one of a two-part series showing you how to make the perfect vanilla cupcake. So today we're going to show you how we're going to make the sponge of the cupcake. Then the next video we're going to show you how you make our perfect buttercream. So with the cupcakes today we're going to be making 12 vanilla cupcakes. What you're going to need for this is a cupcake tin, cupcake cases, 2 spatulas, 2 spoons. Some people do like to use an ice cream scoop, however we recommend this. It's a lot easier and just nicer. And then we've also got flour, self-raising, baking powder, vanilla extract. I've got a baking block, which is a margarine, caster sugar, and then 2 medium free-range eggs. And we're going to be using the KitchenAid today. Please do not worry, if you do not have a KitchenAid, you can use a handheld mixer, or you can also use your wrist if you have got massive muscles. But today, we're going to stick to the KitchenAid. So, let's get started. So, for the ingredients, how we make our perfect vanilla cupcake is we use the weight of 2 eggs. So, every ingredient is the same weight of the 2 eggs in the shells. So, we approximate that to be 120 grams for 2 medium free-range eggs. So, what I've done is I've weighed these, and that's come out at 125 grams. So for that, we've then got 125 grams of baking block. So we use just a normal baking block you can get from the wholesalers. However, you can use a Stork, or sometimes Tesco's and Sainsbury's do their own baking block. Then we've got 125 grams of caster sugar. You can use a golden caster sugar if that's all you've got, but we recommend this for the perfect light vanilla colour. So what we're going to do is we're going to place these together, just the baking block and the caster sugar, into the stand mixer. We're going to turn it on, that might help. And then we're going to put that on to about speed 4. And we're going to let that cream away nicely until that's nice and pale and fluffy. That can take approximately 5 minutes, especially if you're in a cold kitchen. We do recommend that if you have got enough time, if you leave your baking block out for 2 hours roughly, just so it can come to room temperature, that will make sure that it combines and creams a lot easier, and then they'll be quicker to make. So, I'm going to have that on. Whilst we've got that on, we need to crack our eggs. So, just 2, I recommend free-range eggs. So, we're just going to crack them. Ooh, a little bit of shell, little trick. Ooh. Okay, put them in there. So, put them in there with pieces. Whilst that's going, we can also line our cupcake tin. We recommend these deeper tins. You can get these from Sainsbury's, Tesco's. I believe they're called a muffin tin instead of a cupcake tin, but they just give a little bit more depth. And then we are using Sainsbury's cupcake cases, just because these are so easy to get hold of and do make a perfect size cupcake. So now that should have started to cream a little bit. What you need to do now is just take one of your spatulas. As you can see, still a little bit yellow. We want it to be a bit paler than that. So we're going to just push everything down back into the middle and set it for another go. There we go. Then pop that back on speed of 4, and then we'll give that a few more minutes. Then we'll pop it on to speed number 6. There we go. If you're using a handheld mixer, just turn up the handheld mixer and speed it up even more. Now we're coming up to speed 8 if we're using a KitchenAid or a Kenwood. Just going to leave that on full for a few seconds just to get that all nice and pale and fluffy. Woo. Won't take long. Whilst you're doing this, if you haven't already, you can start weighing out your self-raising flour, which is again 125 grams, the same weight as your eggs. Right, now that should be all ready to go. Give you a look for what we're looking for. So as you can see, it's nice and creamy, and everything looks a lot paler than how we started. So what we're going to do now, we're going to pop that back on, scrape it back down from the sides, and then we're going to grab our 2 eggs that you've already cracked, pop them in. Then I'm also going to pop in here, I've got 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I like to use a bit more vanilla extract than most people because I try not to use milk. So what I'm going to do is just going to pour this in. Then, in here, I've got 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I'm going to add this to our self-raising. It's not necessary if you don't have it. However, I find it gives it just that perfect raise. I'm just going to push that through. You can sieve the flour. However, I'm a bit of a cheat and sometimes I don't. And as we're doing this nice, quick and simple cupcake recipe, just going to pop it in. So in goes the self-raising and that. Then we're going to turn this on and try not to get exploded over. Oh. Start on a nice low speed and then we're going to build the speed up so it all combines together. We want it to combine together so it's nice and cream and fluffy and pale. Obviously it's not going to be as pale as when you first combine the margarine and sugar because we've now added the eggs with the egg yolk. Turn that on high. Let that cream away. On this, we are using the paddle attachment on our KitchenAid. However, if you're using a handheld mixer, that does not matter. We're going to let it mix, and then we're going to do just what we did with the margarine. We're going to turn it off, scrape all around the side, and then turn it back on again. So I'm just going to turn that off nice and slowly. As you can see, around this beater, there's a few bits we just need to scrape them down so it's all combined. Great. So it all goes back into the middle. Now it's not smooth enough. If you can take a look in there and see there's a few little lumps and bumps. We want it to be all nice and smooth. So back on it goes. I'm going to turn this up to high speed now, just a short amount of time on a high speed because you don't want it to be over mixed because then that can be when they begin to sink. You just want them to be fully combined and nice and creamy and fluffy. Let that mix, give it about 1 minute and then that should be ready to go. There we go. That looks about ready now. I'm going to do just going to take off the paddle attachment, scrape off all that batter because we need it all to fill our cases. Pop that in there. There you go, nice and pale and creamy and ready for those cupcakes. So now we've got our 12 tin lined. I use 2 tablespoons because what I do is I pick it up with 1 and scrape it down. Some people do like to use, as I've said earlier, an ice cream scoop. However, I just feel you don't get the proper control with an ice cream scoop. So I just take a nice heaped tablespoon and pop that in. So I'll go round with a heaped tablespoon into all 12. And then we'll see if we have any extra to top some up. So keep going. Scrape, continue to scrape down the side to get it all in the middle. Ooh. Just cupcaked. Go. Keep getting that batter in the middle. Nearly there. I've got to give that a good old scrape. This is where your spatulas come in handy. around again. This is perfect for 12, I always say. Obviously, if your eggs weigh a little less, then add in another egg. Sometimes we do 3 eggs if you want to make 12 larger ones. However, just because we're making a sponge today, there we go. A little bit of this. Put it in there. Right. There we go. Now, these are ready for the oven. What we're going to do is we're going to pop these into an oven. We are using a fan oven, and that is set to 165 degrees Celsius. So I'm going to pop these in the oven for approximately 19 minutes, and then we're going to test to see if they're ready, and we're going to do the little spring test that we've copied from our lovely friend Cupcake Gemma. Now that the 18 minutes is up, we're going to check them in the oven and make sure they're all fully cooked. Make sure you've got your oven gloves on. So we're going to take them out. And the little test that we do is so you grab your finger, don't put your hand on the tray, they will be hot. And just press down, and as you see, they spring back up. That means they're all fully cooked. So there you have it, the perfect vanilla cupcake. So as you can see, they're nice and fluffy, full, and we're just going to do a little fluff test. They are still quite warm. And they smell. Can you see that steam? Oh, delicious. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it in half. And look at that. Perfect, fluffy, light. Mmm. Delicious. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back soon with a video on how you can pipe the perfect vanilla cupcake with our very special Bakeaholics vanilla icing recipe. Thank you so much. See you soon.